Oh, good morning, people. This is Tia Torres here, and the sun is coming up here in the land of Swampton, um, aka where I live. Okay. All right. So this podcast series, I'm calling it Rescue 101. I've actually done it quite a few times under different titles, under different platforms, and I think the topic never gets old, and that is how do I start my own dog rescue? I get asked that so many times. So I'm going to capsulate the information under the title of Rescue 101 so you know exactly where to find it. I'm going to have it available on many platforms. We're talking, where's my list here? Where's my list? It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I'm putting it on Rumble, Spotify, and then I'm going to have snippets, little snippets of it on Lemon 8, um, and just maybe a couple other places. Um, but I get asked this so many times. And so I'm like, okay, let's do this. Yes, I do have the TV on in the background because the dogs just got fed. They're in their food coma, and I'm hoping the TV going and the lights are still off, that they will remain quiet so I can get through this recording. Okay, let's just cut to the chase, okay? Um, Let me get out of this here. Where am I? Where am I? Okay, here we go. All right. I'm going to keep this really simple to start. And I know so many of you have written and said, what about permits? What about zoning? What area should I look? Guys, you are getting way ahead of yourself. Okay. And I know you're going to hate what I'm about to say, but you got to get through these questions first before you do anything. Okay. Please, please, please. If you don't listen to anything I have to say, just listen to this. All right. The number one thing you have to have before even starting to rescue anything is income. And I don't mean donations. I mean your income. Okay, when I started getting into rescue, I was working at Petco. Okay, I was a manager at a Petco store. My paychecks are what funded my little hobby. Now, that being said, I was very fortunate in that I lived with my, I guess you can call my baby daddy. I'm too old to be saying that, but the father of my younger daughter, and he had his own contracting company. He paid the mortgage, he paid the utilities, he paid for our groceries. So I could use my paycheck from Petco to do my dog rescue stuff. Okay. So that being said, um, most people need their paychecks to survive, but you have to have a source of regular income or you're going to fail miserably and fast. I know. Talking about money is like the most unromantic thing ever. Okay. Now, here's what I would recommend. If you do have an income where you might be able to spare a few dollars every week, and that is the expectations that you have. Okay? Meaning starting off small. Okay? Rescue one dog at a time. Meaning, take one dog and don't get another one until you find that one a home. That way, possibly, you can afford to do this or at least start off with just your income. Okay? So these people that write me and say, I have 20 acres, I'm ready to start. I'm like, no, 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 no. One dog at a time. And again, I'm going to repeat. I don't mean rescue one dog at a time and accumulate a bunch. You stick with that one dog and see it all the way through to the end. Which brings me up to the third question I have. How far are you willing to go? Are you going to do this dog's entire medical and make sure this dog is healthy all the way to the end? Like that's what we do. Okay. We spay, neuter, shots, dealing with any internal parasites. And because we're in the South, we deal with heartworm. So we treat the dogs for heartworm. By the time we get done with all the initial medical, and I'm talking if the dog has no other ailments, We're talking about we spend about $1,000 on the dog just to get it medically sound. And that's just spay, neuter, shots, worming, and heartworm treatment. So we've already invested $1,000 into these dogs, each dog, just from the jump. Okay? Can you do that? The next thing is, after you spend all this money on the dog, or while you're spending all this money on the dog, what if this dog starts to have behavioral issues? We've had that happen too. Okay? What are you going to do if this dog starts to become a problem? Are you going to be able to afford a behavioralist, a trainer? What if it's just not going to work out and the dog just doesn't want to, cooperate? So what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if this dog shows signs of not really wanting to be a participant out in society? And it happens, people. I don't want to hear, and I'm going to tell you this. If you are one of those people that thinks every single dog is adoptable, then you will probably become a hoarder. I'm going to tell you that right out right now. Okay? It's not true. And I can prove it. And we'll talk about that later. So, you have a dog that is behaviorally challenged, and you're having a problem getting this dog a home because of his or her behavior. What are you going to do? And I'll talk to you about that later, but I want you to sit down and think, what are you going to do? You're stuck with this dog. Do you just hold on to it until it gets a home? Or do you just say, I'm going to put you up on a shelf over here, and then we'll move on to the second dog? And that's usually what happens. Okay? So that's the third thing I want you to think about. And last but not least, social media. Are you decent on social media? If you are not, you better find yourself someone that is. Because social media is the only way you're going to get this dog a home. There's no more putting ads in the newspaper, putting flyers up on telephone poles. It's all about social media. Okay? So I get a lot of people that say, well, I'm not techie. I don't even know how to go on YouTube. Then you got a problem. I mean, unless you work at like some huge company like Google or something where you can, put out a mass email or hand out flyers in the lunchroom, you're gonna have some problems finding a home for the dog you take in. So those are 4 things right there that you need to ask yourself before you even go any further. And that is, do you have an income that can pay for this dog? Food and medical. Okay? What are your expectations? Are you going to try and rescue 20, 30 dogs all at once? Or are you happy with one dog at a time until it gets a home? The third thing, how far are you willing to go with this dog? That means if it has ongoing medical issues, ongoing behavioral issues. Like, what's going to be the end game here if this dog starts to become a money pit as far as medical, or it needs super expensive surgery, or starts to have some behavioral issues. Okay? And last but not least, social media. If you don't know social media, are you willing to learn? Like I did. My kids tease me all the time. They're like, Mom, how are you so techie? And I am pretty techie. I got to pat myself on the back there. I had to learn because we needed to do this to get these, our dogs homes. So 4 things for you to think about before you jump into this. All right? Okay, then. The sun is starting to peek out over the top of the cypress trees, which means my house of 13, 14-ish stalks is about to explode. All right, y'all. I will see you on the next one, and I can say this with conviction. My mission is to rescue, but my hope is that, truly hope, I'm changing it up a little bit, that I won't have to, because you're all going to step into my shoes and release me from my chains here, okay? I want you to go out and do this for me. I'm tired. All right, y'all. I will catch you up on the next one.